Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Again, this is Almost Psychiatry and Integrative Care Podcast. Another episode is going to be another powerful episode. You guys asked for this, so we are bringing it back in a little twist this time around where we want to empower ourselves about money again. We have already established with our previous podcast that money or lack of money can affect our mental health. So let's dive into that again. The twist this time around is money, women, and our mental health. From money shame to a wealth mindset, we are exploring how our upbringing, our culture, and beliefs can shape our financial wellness. And how can we rewrite that story? Women, money, and mental health. We have none other. Well, I'm going to let her introduce herself. This is not her first time here. Thank you for honoring our podcast again. So grab your tea, settle down, share and share and share so we can do this. Thank you. So I would like our guest to introduce herself again.
Good
Please.
morning. Good morning, Dr. Mercy. Sorry, I have a cold. I have a little bit of a hoarse voice today, but we're going to do this. Good morning, everyone joining us today. My name is Delphine Munji. I'm joining in from Dallas, Texas. And yes, like Dr. Mercy said, we're going to be addressing some money issues again. But this time we are looking more about women, what the role women play when it comes to money, and also the fact that, women feel embarrassed to talk about their financial status or financial dealings because of, whatever is going on there. So we're going to address some of those issues today and sit down with us, grab a cup of coffee. We're going to chit chat here. Thank you, Dr. Mercy, for giving me this amazing opportunity to be here again. It's an honor actually to be in your space. Thank you.
Oh, it is our honor to have you. And I'm just checking where so many people who are happy, like, yeah, she's back, she's back. And yes, they asked for you again. They want you to be coming every month. I'm not sure how possible is that, how we can keep you on this platform. Actually, they are learning. I am learning. We are all learning a lot about money shame, women and money, and how cultural values limit our financial growth because of this gender. So let's just dive into it. Can you briefly you have already introduced yourself, but what drives your passion for financial empowerment?
Okay, Dr. Mercy, before I start, just give me a minute so I can let other people know that
That
we
is
are live. Uh,
that
just give me a second, just sharing a little bit.
that is fine. For me, I would say mm, some cultures do not empower women to be financially well. Some
I
cultures,
agree.
yeah, some cultures feel like it's not a woman's role to make money, which is funny because we still end up managing the money. Or
Yes.
some cultures just feel like, okay, traditionally, a woman's role is to stay at home, domestic work, take care of the family, and all that. Meanwhile, it is the man who has to go out there and fend or look for money. But it's funny because that man still has to bring the money home, and sometimes both of them have to manage it. It goes to the part where it is even culturally a shame for a man to admit that the woman is bringing money home.
Right.
So I am so interested in this topic today. Let's see how our upbringing or something. But again, I will still ask you what drives you into this passion for financial wellness?
For me, growing up, I was never taught about money. I said this last time. I
Mhm.
grew up in a household where money was really never discussed that much, like education about money. My parents were pure educationalists, went to school, taught me to go to school, get a job, and live off. that job. Meanwhile, you see a lot of other parents, they started petty trading
Mm-hmm.
back when children are small, sending children to the market to go sell something.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a very big impact, and it also changes the way the child perceives money as
Mm-hmm.
they grow up. So, talking about myself, when I, did everything my parents wanted me to do, went to school, got a job, now I started working, I realized I didn't really understand how to use the money and what to do with the money. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the ignorance and the miseducation, I found out that we had a big gap in our community where we just really doesn't we don't understand how to manage money properly,
Mm-hmm.
and that puts us behind when it comes to understanding money. So now I looked at it and I started learning a little bit one day at a time. And I came to understand that we could do things differently and it will make a great impact, not just for us as individuals, but as for a community as a whole. What does that mean? If we understand interest rates, if we understand inflation, if we understand taxes, it's going to put us at a better place. If we understand that a child can go to school without a student loan, but we got to first understand that, then we start putting those
Absolutely.
things in place. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that upbringing, does it shape the way you look at money today?
Of course. Like I said, starting with no knowledge about money, and now coming to understand that money plays a very big role. Trust me, it has made a great difference. That upbringing, I was so lacking, but I decided on my own that I was going to empower myself. I was going to teach myself, because trust me, there's no school where they teach you how to save. For real. You got
Mm-hmm.
to do it by yourself. You have to be proactive. If you don't, you find yourself in a situation where you feel embarrassed to talk about your financial status.
Wow, that's deep. I think most people grow up in that space where I'm not sure if it's because it is the parents' responsibility to earn the money and take care of the family. That's why it's not very discussed or widely discussed. But we were all taught to work hard. Work
Yes.
hard. Whatever working hard means, we were all taught to work hard. And most of us, we grew up in a household where money was tight. And sometimes we have to function from a survival mode and we become survival focused. It leads to a scarcity mindset, which can follow us into adulthood sometimes. It's not just money itself, but how do we heal from that scarcity mindset? Now we can view money as a tool for freedom because we lacked money. We lacked certain things that money could afford growing up. And that shaped many of us our perspectives, not just as a means of getting by, but we have to free ourselves from that scarcity mindset, which means that if you look at the upbringing, you also realize that what is that moment for you where money shame, you felt that deeply. If we are talking about a scarcity mindset, a survival mindset, what is that moment for you where you felt like, mm, money shame? And how did you get by? How did you sail through that?
So let me start by first defining money shame. Money shame is a situation where you find yourself embarrassed, you find yourself hiding, maybe because you think that your peers are ahead of you,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like you are behind when it comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that psychological defect that you get because you don't feel comfortable to talk about your money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that growing up. Not just me as a person, I saw my parents go through that. There were times when, my mom just gets frustrated if you want to talk about money or you want to ask for money for something. And that's just because it wasn't really there or there was no planning in place for that. So
Mm-hmm.
trust me, I saw it growing up in so many instances where there was really lack of money. That has really been my drive. Since I became an adult, I had kids. I remember my children used to always ask me, why was it that each time they come to pull them out of class, people who didn't pay school fees, they were
Mm-hmm.
always there. And I remember my son always asking me, Mom, our name is on always on that list. And I told myself, I'm gonna make a difference in their lives. It took me a lot of sacrifice. I had to make real drastic decisions
Mhm.
how I could change that story. That's how I found myself in this country. I found myself in opportunities where I was able to overcome those challenges of, lack of money, poverty mindset, and all of that, to the point where I'm telling you, I'm driving by and I'm looking for where is the cheapest gas station so
Mhm.
I can go pump my gas. And I never really used to understand that when I was in school. There are times that I never knew I could just put in my pump and fuel my tank to the fullest. I have to go in there and say, please, I need $10 gas, because that's what I could afford at that time. So those instances put you in a situation where you really start thinking, and you try to hide those details because you feel very embarrassed that even as a parent you can't provide for your kids, or as an adult you do not have enough, just even enough to live on. So those embarrassing moments, trust me, they've been a lesson to me. And that's really why I find myself here trying to make a difference and make sure that people understand that it is okay to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, how are you going to make it change?
And you're not alone. I'm not alone. Even those who have gone through this are not alone. This question came about as someone had shared that they were at a grocery store and their card got declined. And when they looked in their card, there was nothing non essential that they had gotten. It was everything that they needed for their kids. And they're standing there with their baby, with a grown up kid as well. And they're like, ma'am, it's not going. And there are so many people behind you who are looking and looking at their time, like, stop wasting our time. She removed some, it still will not go. She had to remove like half of what she had bought to be able to use that card. And thank God, a good Samaritan, seeing her with a baby, taking out a baby's formula, taking out a baby's diaper just so she can get bananas or something. Some good Samaritan just came and paid for the things. But now, do we get stuck in that money shame, or do we take it as an empowerment moment where we have to track our expenses, where we have to educate ourselves, see how we want to build better habits? Not to say that this person had bad habits. Sometimes it's just that we could not afford it. But if we track our expenses and track everything, we can avoid that shame. But then let us not get stuck in the shame. Let us see how we can educate ourselves and not get paralyzed by that shame. I want to go deeper now with culture. How does culture impact the way women are taught to think about wealth and independence? I know that many culture, it come across like, no, you don't have to be independent financially, especially if you're married. Your husband has to be the breadwinner. Your husband has to be the one doing this and that. How does culture impact the way women are taught about wealth and independence?
Trust me, culture plays a very big role. So, traditional gender roles back then put women in places where women were seen as caregivers. Meanwhile, men were the ones in front when it comes to money, which means that if we had to buy a piece of land, the man was standing at the forefront while the woman is left behind to cook and care for kids. So, those cultural expectations go a long way in affecting women when it comes to financial literacy, because now a woman knows that this is not my place. I'm not the one to stand in front, the man is the one. So, gender roles. So, now we're looking at two genders and we are putting ourselves behind because we think that it is a man's place to talk about money, to understand money. And so, women were always left behind. We also have access to opportunities. Those opportunities were most often only discussed with men.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, women were seen as, the secondary, person. And most often women were so ignorant that they don't even know how to what to say when they put them in that position. And so you see, a man is not there anymore, the woman is lost. Like, they don't even know what resources they had. They don't understand how it works. I've seen situations where the man died and that woman had to start learning everything from scratch,
Mm.
understanding mortgage, understanding taxes, and all of those things, because the man was the one doing it. Why? Because we come from a culture that puts the man ahead, that puts the man, in front. And most times women take that second position at the back, where they think that it's not my thing to discuss money. And sometimes women who go ahead to start understanding money and talking about money, society looks at them like, they are greedy, or they are, they look at them with an eye, thinking
Or
that
like they have bad
their
men
place. Yes,
who cannot provide for them.
yes, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, but things are changing though. There's a
Yeah.
shifting perspective because there's a need for change. So, despite all these challenges, all the cultural norms, things are evolving. In many societies now, we see a lot of women taking roles where, they are standing at the forefront and making financial decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And so that shift is going a long way to bring some kind of gender equality.
Mm-hmm.
Now some women even understand money more than men.
Oh yeah.
So, stuff like that is really changing, and it's a big difference from what used to happen back our days.
Yeah. And again, when you see a woman standing in the forefront of financial awareness in some culture, they look at it like disrespectful, or they
Yes.
look at it like, what kind of man did this one marry who cannot provide for her? In many cultures, even including my own culture, in the background in those days, women were expected to be caregivers, not providers in
Yes.
their homes. We are often taught to depend on men for financial decisions, just like you said. And yes, this limits our potential. When we shift that narrative, we empower women to take charge. It doesn't mean that we are taking charge over the men. Anyone can take charge. We both can take charge because it affects all of us. We should make those decisions together, and we can invest in ourselves and in the household without feeling guilty,
Absolutely.
without feeling like we are doing something bad. There
Absolutely.
are women who cannot even say, "Oh, I did this," because in those cultures, they look like, "Why are you the breadwinner?" With an
Yes.
eye, like you say. And again, it feels funny. What are some outdated beliefs that you often hear from women about money?
One that really stood out to me was, and really stands out to me, is the fact that some people think women are impulsive spenders, which means that, you can't leave your money in the hands of a woman. She's going to spend it all on things. These are all myths. We've seen situations where in reality, both men and women exhibit both those impulsive, some men too are
Absolutely.
impulsive as well. you know
Absolutely.
Women could be impulsive, but sometimes it's very, very little amounts. A man
Hmm.
can spend large amounts of money on something too that is going to be considered impulsive buying. So, because of that, women are, put on the side, saying that, they spend money without thinking. There's another one that thinks that women are not good at managing money. This
Hmm.
is a stereotype. It suggests that
Yeah.
women lack financial acumen. However, data shows that women often manage household finances effectively. In the
Effective.
US, women control or share daily shopping needs
Yes.
more than men, and
Yes.
many are primary or breadwinners as
Hmm.
well. We
Hmm.
also have another one that says women do not want to learn about money. So women shy away from topics that concern money.
Hmm.
This is a misconception in some aspects, that because contrary to this belief, many women actively seek financial knowledge probably shy, in a very shy way, not coming out clearly, but they try to do it in their own way. We just have to enforce it by educating and giving them resources where they can see that, there's more that they can learn and do out there that can
Right.
really help the household. Yeah.
And I think you mentioned earlier that when a woman is talking about money, it feels like they are greedy.
Yeah.
Like it's not ladylike to talk about. Why would you be talking about money? Leave your husband to. And many women are also saying, "Oh, I am not good with numbers," and they just push it up to the men. Why are you not good with numbers? And it's not even like they have tried. It's just those are just stories that we inherited and stories that we have to rewrite because we are not taking over any man learning about financial literacy. We are just trying to take care of ourselves. When that man is not there, or even if the man is not there, is there, like you mentioned, co-financial decision makers. It's not hard. Why is it so hard for women to talk openly about their finances? What do you think?
So women really find it difficult to talk about finances. It's more about historical and societal conditioning.
Yeah.
Traditionally, financial matters have been viewed as a domain for a man, with women always being excluded from financial decision making and education. This historical exclusion has led to a generational gap in financial literacy amongst women. For instance, women were not allowed to apply for their own credit cards or loans without a male co signing. That was in 1974
I
in the
wanted to
US.
ask, when was that?
I'm telling you, that was a long time ago, though. So that was back then in 1974. Like, so that's the culture where we are coming from. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where this gap came from.
Yeah.
Because women, they saw women as not being fit enough to stand in front and talk about finances. So a man has to co-sign if the woman has to take a credit card. Consequently, many women were not taught personal financial information and made to feel like they were incapable of handling money. The
Right.
second point is relationship dynamics and power
Mhm.
imbalances. In relationships, financial imbalances can always lead to, to power imbalance where it discourages open discussions about money.
Oh
For
yeah.
example, if one partner earns more or handles the majority of the financial decisions, the other partner may feel disempowered to speak up about financial concerns. This can result in financial decisions being made without mutual agreement and understanding. So
Right.
the man leading, most often the woman steps behind, and because there becomes conflict in the relationship. There only has to be
Mhm.
one captain in a ship, right? So most often the men take that role. They are the ones leading the financial decisions, and the women just have to sit back. So also lack of financial education and confidence. Most historically, women have had less access to financial education. For that reason, it has lowered their levels of financial literacy and confidence. It's time for us to step up as women. We have a great role to play.
Mhm.
Most of the time, they say charity begins at home.
Mhm.
Financial education starts at home. You take your child to grocery, let them see that let them see the part of the spending. They are not just there to pick things from the
I
counter.
exactly.
They
Exactly.
have to see how much money was spent
Mhm.
on that whatever you bought.
Mhm.
I was with my daughter in Costco the other day and we went to get trash bags. Trash bag is a trash bag, right? All I'm worried about
It's
is the
trash.
size, how big it is. And of course, she wanted the scented ones, but we had about three different brands that were scented.
Mhm.
She just went and was grabbing. I'm like, hey, hello,
Without
look at
looking
the
at the
price.
price, they all
Look at
do
the
that.
price. Yeah, look at the price. So by the time came out of there, we did three other aisles. She started looking at the price and comparing. And she looks at it, okay, this one has 100 bags, this one has 75 bags, and they
Mhm.
have the same price.
Mhm.
So, we start stuff like that. Once you start instilling in children when they are young, it goes a very long way.
Yeah. And I also think that's very good that you mentioned all of that. I also think that The reason women do not also talk openly about finances is because most women have equate money with their worth. To say that if you're struggling financially, people look at you like a failure. That's why people don't talk about it. We fail to understand that we are worthy. We have our own values. Money is a tool to get us certain things that we want, but it should not be attached to our worth. The fact that, let's say, we are not struggling financially doesn't make us good people, doesn't make us those people in a community that everyone see. And the fact that you're struggling financially doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're a failure. It may be a temporary thing. So this vulnerability around money, let it open the door for healing, for support, and for growth, rather than us thinking that if we are struggling financially, it means that we are failing. No, there are moments of everything. You may be struggling financially now because maybe you cannot work like before. Maybe because you're in school full time. Maybe you just had a child. You cannot. So there's always a way as we are learning this financial literacy. And there's time for everything because we have to prioritize. There are certain times that the priority is not to go and make money. And if you
Yes.
cannot talk openly about money because you feel vulnerable or because you're feeling ashamed, turn that into a process of just feeling fine. Your worth is not attached to your network, to
Sure.
how much you have in the bank. Your worth is attached to your values. Align yourself with who you are and continue to, yes, find that money as a tool to financial freedom, to independence, not to make you worthy. So, what are some of those little small shifts that you think that can be made to impact someone's financial life?
The one and the big one I'm going to really stress on is education. Most of these misconceptions and ignorance is because we lack the education.
Mm-hmm.
So, financial education is key, financial literacy is key. It
Mm-hmm.
is our responsibility to understand how money works and if you do, and how you can make it work for you. No one else will do. Do not forget, difference is made when you take action. It's not just about understanding, you got to take action.
Let me cut you right there. You just hit a theme, guys. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the theme for this year, 2025, is let us not just be aware. Let us turn the awareness into action. So thank you for saying that. Thank you. I just had to say that.
I always say that, we know the saying, knowledge is power.
Uh-huh.
Now, I say that is not even correct because knowledge without action is nothing done.
It's nothing.
You got to take action.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the difference is in the action that you take.
Mm. What advice would you give women who feel too far behind? Some women will tell you, oh, it's too late to learn. It's it's too late. Let me just go with the flow in my household. Whatever have been happening is good, not knowing that it can even just go from good to better or from better to best. What advice would you give women who feel like I cannot learn right now?
You know, there's not really nothing as feeling too far behind. The key word there is just start, right? How do you do that? Break goals into manageable steps.
Yes.
Large financial goals can be really overwhelming. So instead of aiming for 6 months emergency funds and all those big numbers, start with little steps.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start by budgeting. Let's start by saving slowly. But you got to start because just folding your arms and say, "Oh, I'm too far behind." Is remember we just talked about taking action
Yeah.
will
Mm-hmm.
not solve the problem. You
Mm-hmm.
got to start. If you feel too far behind, it means that you have to double your efforts to catch up. You can't give up because trust me, someday it's gonna come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
you know so also I have the fact that seek support and education. Surround yourself with a supportive community and seek out financial educational resources. You can
Mm-hmm.
do that by yourself. Some people take it upon themselves to just go out there and Google. There's a lot. We live now in a world where there's a lot of information out there.
Absolutely.
You just need to type that word. GPT chat will bring you everything
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
It can
Mm-hmm.
bring you even a whole paper. For those of you who are in school, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Today, there's so much information out there that has been organized based on what you're looking for. So you can self-develop yourself. You can't just fold your arms and say, oh, I'm too far behind. Take
Mm-hmm.
action.
And to add to that, track your money. No matter how small it is or no matter how much is it, track your money. Not to shame yourself, but to become aware.
Yes.
Now, when you become aware and you're tracking, is it going in the right direction or can it be better? Then you take that action because awareness should be empowering. And
Yes.
because you're empowered, you take action. What direction do you want it to go and what is it? Because knowing where your money goes is the first step towards taking control of your financial story. And it's not too late. You're not far behind. I'm not far behind. There's always that right time where you feel empowered and you're not thinking like, oh, I should be perfect at this. No, check your progress, not perfection. One day at a time, you're learning. And I want to ask you this, can you share a breakthrough story from one of your clients?
I have so many, but I'm going to talk about one that really concerns the lack of planning and also the lack of emergency plan. If you don't
Mm,
have, it's not going to be an emergency plan. If
right.
in the country in which we are today, you got to have an emergency exit plan because most of us live on loans and credits and all of
Mm-hmm,
that, which
mm-hmm,
means we don't own those things. So the problem, so I had a client, we sat with this client and we came up with a plan to help him and his family to start planning for emergencies in the future.
mm-hmm,
So everything was set in place, but a few days after that contract was being put to place, the wife came back and said, "We don't need this right now because what we have at our job is, pretty much what we're going to rely on. So I'm so sorry, we're not going to go through with it." The
mm-hmm.
husband tried to talk, but the wife said, so the husband said, "You know what? My wife is the boss. That's the decision." A few months down the line, unfortunately, this man was diagnosed with some kind of illness.
Yeah.
And remember that emergency bucket that we had thought we should set in place? There was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So the job that they were relying on paid them some kind of disability, but most of the time it only pays 60% of what they were making full time.
Some
This guy,
jobs can't even pay 60%.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy had a full-blown massive stroke and
Oh.
he was in the ICU for months. So the job only pays disability if you are still working. After a few months, they could not keep him on the clock because he wasn't coming to work and he was in the hospital. So for that reason, they decided they were going to go seek government funds and help from the government. Little did they know that Medicaid most often has a spend down process where if you don't have 2,000 and less, they're not going to help you. They have a home, they had cars, they had so many things that made them look so rich in the system that did not qualify for
Mm-mm.
Medicaid. A year later, they had to go out there and their house was repossessed. Their cars were repossessed. They moved into an apartment because they really had nothing for emergencies. So for that reason, I said, if I could just help somebody have something set for emergencies that could really make a difference and we could change the trajectory in our community
Mm-hmm.
where one day that you are not able to go to work, everything crashes.
Mm,
So it was an eye opener for me
mm,
because no matter what we tried to do, they thought they were in a good place, but forgetting to know that some of these plans are only tied to the fact that you're still up and healthy.
mm-hmm.
What if today was the last day you are able to go to work? Let's say tomorrow you won't be able to work again. How many days can you survive
Absolutely.
before you start crying out for help? So friends and families have to come out to help you.
And
So
they get burned out too. It's not like they don't have their own things to do.
yes, for sure. People are only going to help you with how much they can, but they're not going to take over your problems, right? You're still responsible for those problems, whether you're sick or you're not sick. We are just as good as what it looks like because we are up healthy and moving around. Do
Mhm.
you have something set aside for that day? God forbid you wake up and you don't have a job, or you are not able to go to a job because you're sick. Will sickness make your situation better or will it make it worse? Right? And so, is getting sick a matter of if or when? Of course, it's a matter of when. Someday this body is going to break down.
Mhm.
Either it's going to be one thing or another. On the day that when happens, what is your fallback plan? Right? So, with this, it was really, it was a very sad situation to see them go down. They lost everything because most of the cars they owned, they were still paying for those cars. They had not paid them off. The mortgage was still there. It wasn't, yet paid off as well. They lost the house, lost the cars, and all of that. And that was really a lesson for us that we need to really put something in place when it comes to emergency funds. As much as we're living this glorious life, things are beautiful, we are going to work. Someday we're not going to be able to go to work, no matter what. Whether you fall sick or you don't fall sick, old age is going to come someday. What is the plan for that old age? What is the plan for retirement?
Why do I feel like you're scaring people?
No. It's the truth. It's just the very difficult truth that, most often we don't want to talk about it, but
Hmm.
it's there. I used to work in a county hospital, and what I saw was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
A
we've seen
family
them
member brought a patient to the hospital
abandon them.
because that patient was rejected in a nursing home because they did not have money. 50-year-old man had a full-blown stroke. So the nursing home said, he's too high level maintenance for us. It's costing us a lot of money. You got to come take him. They picked him up, drove to a county hospital, said he had chest pain. Of course, that's the key word, right? Once you see chest pain, everybody opens the door. This
Hmm.
guy was admitted. He stayed there for 9 months. And the case managers were struggling to get placement, get him placed in any facility, and nobody was wanting to take him because if you turn your eyes, this guy is on the floor. He was very impulsive, very confused, but there was nothing. You see, every day they are documenting, they're trying to call the family members and they're saying that, oh, nobody's picking up the phone. Nobody. He stayed with us on that unit for 8 months in the hospital, not because he was so sick that he needed to be there for 8 months. The problem was just that there was really nothing for emergencies planned.
Now we are listening to this. It's scaring me, and I know it's scaring some of you, but that's the reality. What have we done financially to make sure that when we are not able to be productive financially, like physically work or mentally work to produce finances, we can still be taken care of or we can still live. We live in a culture or in a world now where it's scary to even take 1 week vacation
Yes.
and come back. You're thinking, how do I survive this one? How much did I lose this one? What is going to happen then if you're not able to work for 1 month, for 6 months, or for 1 year? Are you going to be covered? Is your home or cars or whatever going to be repossessed? Are your children going to be fed? I wish that, as scary as it can be, we still know that there is hope. And if you've not already planned, this is the right time. You can self learn, you can ask for help. We have our expert here. You can ask for help, you can read yourself, and you can learn. Sometimes when you read it yourself, you don't see the nitty gritty in between the lines of what you really need to do. Learn from the experts. Call Delphine. She will walk you through, no matter how much your budget is, no matter how much your income is. She'll walk you through how to save for rainy days. Do not wait until it's raining. Then you start looking for how you can get an umbrella. Get that umbrella and protect yourself before it starts raining. And with all this, I know that as a teacher, as a financial guru, as an expert in this topic, what's one financial tool that you love that more women should be using?
So, for women, if I could get a microphone, I'm going to scream out retirement buckets. Why? Statistics shows that women are going to be here more than the men. You
Yeah.
can walk into a nursing home and count the number of women that are sitting in there
Mm-hmm.
compared to the number of men.
Mm-hmm.
But most often women are so they get shy and they don't want to talk about all this, they don't want to do money talk
Mm-hmm.
because, oh, my husband manages it. Trust me, down the road, these plans, these strategies that we are putting in place are going to benefit women more than even the men.
Mm-hmm.
So one great retirement bucket that I would recommend is called annuities. It's one that provides guaranteed growth and
Yeah.
it secures some kind of income that could pay out for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be in that situation where if and Dr. Mercy, you are in the healthcare field, you've
Yeah.
seen situations where you know somebody puts on their call lights and because they run the building, even the nurse manager is answering that call light
Yes.
compared to somebody who doesn't have the funds.
Nobody.
They are sharing a room with three other people
Uh-huh.
and they put up their call light and it's going on for hours
For hours.
and hours and nobody's answering that call lights.
Hours. And
We
even like worst cases, like you said earlier, woe betides me that I will be abandoned in a hospital or I'll abandon my loved one in the hospital because I am not capable of taking care of them. I can't even wrap that around my head. Like how do I live with myself that my loved one is in the hospital and I cannot even visit for fear that they will land a bill in my home? I like that's disowning somebody. I don't know you. I don't know you
yeah.
because I cannot care for you financially. Guys, it's time. If this is you, if this is me, it is that time to forget about being vulnerable. It's that time to take charge. And you're making the money anyway, you're working. Why not
Yes.
make the money work for you?
Yeah.
Why not develop strategies? It's not just about making the money, working every day. Why not develop a long term plan of how this money can work for you as well? Whew, it's okay, it's deep. But why is money shame such a powerful force, especially for women?
So for women, it's such a powerful force due to the complex interplay of societal expectations.
Mm-hmm.
The historical gender norms that we talked about, compared to men and women, men always taking the lead, and also systemic inequalities. But it's time for us to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Overcoming money shame requires joint effort. It it requires challenging societal narratives and fosters open dialogue about finances. It's time
Mm-hmm.
for us to start talking about it.
Yeah.
We cannot keep hiding it because if you keep hiding to talk about it, you're never going to find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
We need to recognize and address the root causes of this financial shame. Something is causing it. What is it for you? It's time for us to address it both as individuals and also as a community. We
Mm-hmm.
can work towards more equitable and supportive financial landscape for women
Mm-hmm.
if we start looking at what is causing this problem that I'm so embarrassed to talk about my money issues. Is it that I am impulsive in my spending? I used to love when I'm bored, sometimes I just go to the mall, and I used to do that. And so when I go to the mall, you can't come back without picking something, right?
Something that you
But
don't need.
I made sure I satisfied that desire to bring back that product home. but the next day I go return it back because I don't need it.
Mm-mm.
I don't. So that was causing a negative in my account. And if I don't stop it, if I don't talk about it, if I don't address it, then I keep going down in a hole that I'm not going to be able to come out. What is it for you? Is it the fact that you cannot, you are so tempted to buy, to shop? Sometimes we don't need to go to the store, just sitting on your computer, before you know it, there's an Amazon package out that door. Do you
Yep.
really need it?
Mm-hmm.
My brother used to tell me, if you have a dress you haven't put on for more than 6 months, you don't need it.
And we, I want to say people, but let me say we have things in the closet for more than 1 year.
Yes, with
Why
tags.
is it there?
With tags on, you
Uh-huh.
haven't even taken off that tag for 2 years. Why
Mm-hmm.
is it there?
Why is
Do
it?
you really need it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's causing the shame,
And that
right?
shame kind of silence us women instead of
It's
empowering us.
empowering
It
us.
feels like when we start struggling, especially after we have spent the wrong way, then now we are struggling, we start feeling ashamed. Please, let's turn that shame or that guilt into power. Now we know better, let's do better. Let's do better. And
Sure.
especially we're hammering on women. How can women unlearn some financial guilt and embrace abundance? How can women say it's okay that I am financially making something, I am financially well, I am financially free, I am financially independent, and I can embrace independence and abundance without feeling guilt, without feeling like, oh no, it's not my role. Oh, why should I even portray that I can work hard? I see many women even they find a job that they are qualified for, but they send their husband or they send someone else because oh I cannot take that role. It will show like I'm the breadwinner in the
Yeah,
house.
it's a
How
man's
can we
place, right?
unlearn some of those financial guilt?
I would say it's a transformative journey
Oh yeah.
that involves reshaping your mindset. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about what you believe in. You can change it. If it's making you go in the wrong direction, how about let's switch it and try the other way? You got to
Mm-hmm.
try different things. Something is going to work. You're also going to heal those emotional wounds.
Yeah.
Some of them are caused by trauma in the past. You also need to cultivate empowering habits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of them is just identifying and healing the roots of financial guilt, right?
Yeah.
Financial guilt often stems from past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Some people never used to have money. And so for that reason, they seem to just hoard anything they can hold on to because they lacked so much
Yeah.
that it gets to a point that they just don't want to ever lose it anymore.
Yeah.
And so they just, either they are holding the money and not
That they
really
are
putting
holding.
it into savings,
Mm-hmm.
or
That they
they
are
are
holding
holding
like,
things.
oh yeah.
For somebody who never had shoes, he said, I'm going to wear the best shoes I can wear in my life. That makes him happy.
Mm-hmm.
But is that putting a strain on your finances? You
Mm-hmm.
got to look at that, right? So, societal pressures as well, internalized beliefs about money. Maybe it's time for us to reshuffle what's
Yeah.
upstairs and learn something. Unlearn so you can learn.
Yeah.
Reflect on your upbringing and early messages about finances so that you can uncover these influences.
Mm-hmm.
Cultivate a mindset of abundance,
Yep.
shifting from scarcity to
Deserve it.
abundance
We deserve
mindset.
it. Mm-hmm.
This involves recognizing that there is enough wealth and opportunity for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's your mindset
Mm-hmm.
that is holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
So embrace gratitude, celebrate others, their successes, and also focus on collaboration over competition.
Oh yeah.
Develop develop healthy money habits.
I like
For
that.
real. Yeah.
Collaboration over
Over competition.
competition.
Yeah.
I like that. And not only that, we as women deserve that financial peace. It's
Yes.
not just rationed for men. We deserve that financial peace. We work hard. Like you said, Let us focus on abundance. Let us tell ourselves that it is possible that we strive financially, not just survive financially. It is possible that we see opportunities for finances and for creating more, and we do that and get that financial literacy as well, so that all the hard work doesn't just go into waste. We learn how to work hard. Let us also learn how to manage well, so that it doesn't
Learn how to collaborate as
learn how
well.
align yourself with those women who are doing it. Learn from them, see what they are doing, collaborate with each other, so that you belong to that sphere of people or of women who also want to find that financial peace. So collaboration over competition.
Competition.
I like that. And I hope you guys are listening. You guys are listening. It's not all the time that we are competing. If I'm coming to learn from you, I can collaborate with you and learn something from you. It doesn't mean that, oh, Delphine has this, I must have it too, and I have to go above her. Collaboration over competition. That goes deep, not only about money, that goes deep. How do
Yep.
we begin to tell our daughters? I know you shared some story with your daughter the other day. For other people, how do we tell our daughters who are women differently about, especially the cultural norm where they were taught to go to school and sit and wait for a man to come and marry them and start taking care of them? How do we shift that caregiver role to provider role for our daughters?
So for us to do that, we have to start early.
Mhm,
Don't wait until your daughter is an adult for you
mhm,
to start. Like I said, even when you take kids to the store, let them be involved to understand that whatever they are bringing home costs money.
mhm,
So we can make a choice right there in front of the aisle to decide to take something that is still going to give us the same satisfaction, but it's going to cost less. The children have to be involved in making that decision, not
mhm,
you. So introducing basic money concepts as soon as a child can talk, can count, or can understand simple transactions is very important.
mhm.
Use everyday situations like grocery shopping that we've already talked about, like paying bills,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As they turn on the water and it's going, or the electricity or the fan that they left in the room running all day, they got to see that electricity bill. Don't just tell
Yeah.
them, oh, the electricity bill went up. You got to show them the bill.
Mhm,
Do you see last month we had had to pay $80, but
mhm.
this month we had to pay $300.
What
What do
happened?
we do
Yeah.
differently?
Mhm,
They gotta be involved in that process.
mhm,
Because if you don't involve them and you just, as a mom, you just be like, oh my God, the electricity bill went up. They don't understand what up means. They're going
mhm,
to compare those numbers and understand that something we are doing wrong this month is affecting the numbers of how much we're going to pay.
mhm.
So, providing hands on experience is very important. Allow your daughter to manage the grocery list,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
Write the list, let's go to the store and let's pick those things. You are going to be the one to know the total and pay for it. If we are pumping gas, they need to see how much it costs,
yeah.
right? So bringing them in when it's early is good. Be transparent and honest. Avoiding money
I like
discussions.
transparent. Transparent.
Right.
Sometimes we parents we are struggling and these children don't even
They
know.
don't know about it.
We are
They got
struggling
to
and they just
know.
spend anyhow. They just go into your Amazon card and other things that they could not have ordered if they knew your financial situation. They have phones, they just call anywhere, not knowing that if you call this place at this time, it can cost this, it can. They don't know. Let us be transparent. And like you said,
Yeah.
involve them in that grocery list. Why pick this over this? Why take this brand over this? Let them see us budgeting. Let them also see us making those mistakes so that they can avoid them. Money is not a taboo. It's not a taboo. Help them to know that they can invest, they can thrive like anyone else. So that transparency, I really like that. I like
Yeah.
that you should
It
start.
goes it goes a very long way to, clear the confusion and misconceptions because sometimes the kids think, oh, my parents have a lot of money. So, that idea in their mind.
Oh, you're a doctor. You have
You
money.
understand? But they don't know what the bank account looks like on a normal day at the end of the month. When you pay those bills, they are not part of that transaction where they see how much money left the bank account. Yeah, you made a lot of money
Yeah.
as a doctor. How much did you keep? The child has to know. It's
Right.
not only just knowing that my mom makes a lot of money, but also to understand that there are a lot of bills to pay,
Mm-hmm.
and they are part of that conversation where you are being very transparent and honest to them. Yes, we
Mm-hmm.
are making a lot of money, but this is where the money is going. Because trust me, tomorrow they're going to take your role. They're going
Yeah.
to be moms, they're going to be adults,
Yeah.
and they will find themselves lost, not knowing that there were bills. I
Mm-hmm.
have a situation where a child, at the age of 18 was so happy to leave home, but she didn't understand that leaving home was going out there to take responsibility and start paying real bills.
Mm-hmm.
Once she found out that, the money she was working so hard for was being taken for taxes, for bills, she was like, Mom, I'm coming back
I'm
home.
coming home. I've
Yeah,
seen, I actually have a lot of adolescents who are doing that now as patients. I can't wait to leave home. I can't wait
yeah.
to leave home. And I'm just laughing, like, don't worry. There will be moments where you'll be like, Mom, Dad, can I come back home? It's hard financially out here. And what's one money myth that you once believed but now completely reject? I mean, in
Well,
this field as a financial advisor, what is that myth that you like? Oh, no, but now you're like, it's not working.
I'm going to focus on one that, has to do with taxes. A lot of people are ignorant of the fact that you could avoid not paying taxes. And so they think, oh, we are being taxed a lot because we are marginalized or because we are in the middle class and all of that. You could step out of that middle class zone. Nobody put you in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
saying that you're paying taxes because somebody is making you to pay taxes is because you're ignorant.
mm-hmm,
There are tax codes that can free you from paying even a taxes, even the least amount of taxes without you committing a crime.
mm-hmm,
But we are so ignorant about it. So it settles down to education and financial literacy. If
mm-hmm,
you understand that there are tax codes that you could leverage from, and those tax codes could avoid you from, paying ridiculous amount of taxes,
mm-hmm,
trust me, it's going to put some excess money into your pocket.
mm-hmm.
So for me, that's a myth that we need to break, and we need to
Yeah,
really educate others to say that we can narrow that gap by taking actions, by unlearning and by relearning, so that we can make a difference
yeah. For me, the myth was that if you work hard, you make more.
more.
Yeah, if you work so hard, you're going to be financially wealthy. If you put in so many hours, if you do this, that may be true, but why am I calling that a myth? Working hard doesn't equate getting rich. You may work hard and lose everything. If you work hard and have a strategy on how you smartly manage what you're making, that is what will lead you to financial wellness. It's not the actual working hard. It is working hard will lead to burnout. Wealth isn't about how hard you work. It's
Yes.
about how smartly and how intentionally you manage what you've made. It's not about
Yes.
working hard. How you manage, so, and I know you deal with a lot of families, clients, and how do you stay grounded when dealing with all this financial stress and unexpected expenses and things like that?
The key word there is unexpected expenses.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, your air conditioner that was working very well is broken. Call your local repairer and see how much it costs.
Mm-hmm.
Did you plan for that?
No.
No. Did it happen? Yes.
Yes.
Last year for me, I saw a lot of repairs, home repairs. My microwave, everything broke down. So I did not plan for that,
Mm-mm.
but I had to take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, in the middle of summer, we live in Texas. Imagine you waking up to your air conditioner not working or your car. that's parked at the garage is not able to start in the morning. And before you know it, they're telling you about ridiculous amount of repairs. Build emergency funds. They gotta be something kept aside for such unexpected expenses. Financial stress often stem from lack of planning.
Mm-hmm.
Create and stick to a budget. You don't spend because you see the money in there. You spend because you need to spend. If you don't have to, you don't really have to.
There's never too much money, guys. Don't spend because it's too much. No. Spend
Yes,
because you need to.
you need to. So that's the only way out of unexpected expenses. You got to build something for emergencies. You got to keep something on the side. So that money that just got into your account, keep it there. You don't have to go swipe that card and then put yourself in a situation where you come home and you're telling yourself, why did I really do that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody pushed you. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about your mindset. You can start learning better ways of managing your financial situation so that you have a little bit of excess. They always say have at least 6 months worth of emergency funds. Six
Yes.
months worth of
Yes.
emergency funds
Yes.
before something happens and you start, most people, we are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get that paycheck, oh, we are in the mall, or we have to take care of all this. You have to prioritize. Some of us in our last podcast, we talked about that budgeting a lot, and I'm just going to talk about that budgeting a little bit here.
Yeah.
Some of us, we are spending not because we really need to. Do you really need that Netflix account?
And you
And
don't
then
even watch it.
you don't watch it. Do
Mm-mm.
you need the Hulu account that you're not watching? Do you need the Disney account? All those little things, it might just look like $15 a month, but it adds up. If we start cutting back on those, so just go to your card and see how much you're losing, you're spending on every month. Do you really need to spend that money? Start cutting back, cut down. If you're finding yourself in a negative, you need to start cutting back on some of those. Sometimes we are so busy working, we don't even check to see what's happening in the bank account, and somebody
Yes.
just took $150 that was not supposed to have been taken.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
gone. So go back, revisit your card, see where your money is going. Where is the greater part of your budget going towards? Is it towards groceries? And then now you have all that food sitting in a freezer. Some of us have three, four freezers at home,
Then,
stocking,
then we are trashing
piling
food.
the food, and then we are throwing it at the end of the day. That is where the money is going. You need to find those loopholes. Where are we losing the money so that we can fix them? Because if we don't fix them, I always say that if you are going in the wrong direction, if you don't make a U-turn, you're never going to get to your destination.
Mm-hmm. True. Very true.
Yeah.
If you could, if you could, to go back to that, I think now I am at a point where with my budget and I really ask myself, do I need it or do I want it? And if I want it, is it necessary? And I know that why am I attached to the thing? It doesn't define who I am. Let it go. Let it go. There are so many stuff in our wardrobes, in our closet, in our pantries that we just pick, pick, pick because we wanted it and it's there. We haven't even needed it. Why did we get it and why do we keep getting it? So, how would you educate or tell a 25-year-old woman one financial rule to live by?
Start investing early and think long term. Because the fact that you're 25 years today, someday you're going to be 70 years old.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So start today, which means that the early you begin investing or setting aside something, the more time your money has time to grow through the
Mm-hmm,
power of compound interest. Money grows by compound interest.
mm-hmm,
Modest, consistent contributions can lead to substantial wealth. When you start very early, you don't have to put too much because time is going to multiply that amount of money.
mm-hmm.
We have accounts that we help create for children that are only $30 every
Yeah.
month. But
Mm-hmm,
that child can end up with almost $1 million in cash by the time they
By the time.
retire. But you
Yes.
got to start from day one. As early as 2 weeks, we start protecting these kids, we start investing in them so that by the time they get to the time when they need it, the money is already there. You don't start planning when you already have the need. This approach is particularly crucial for women
Mm-hmm.
who often face longer life expectancies, like we talked about earlier, and may experience career interruptions due to caregiving,
Mm-hmm.
childbearing responsibilities. Remember, a woman who is bearing 4 children, let's say you want to have 3 children, it's almost about 10 years of your life that you're
Yeah.
going to slow down. So
Yeah.
when you were 25, if you started keeping something, right, during those years when you're 35 trying to raise those babies, whatever you started 25 years can sustain you through that time when your hands are full with the kids and trying to pay tuition for children, and then you can fall back onto them when the kids are grown, but you already established that account
Absolutely.
earlier on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And it's never too late to start. It's never too early to start. So
Yes.
start now. Be
Now,
empowered. Start now. Start now. What kind of legacy are you building, my dear? And how do you hope your work will impact future generation?
my vision is not just one that leaves long lasting impact just for me or my immediate family. I'm looking at changing a whole community, one that goes beyond the people that I know. The
Oh,
impact that I want to leave in the community, in the world today, is one that even people that don't know me, they would be able to benefit from. I'm striving at first pushing on financial wellness through wealth creation, protection, and transfer. It's one thing to have money, to save money, and all of that. Is it protected? Can somebody sue you today and you lose everything you have? We see a lot of lawsuits, right? Can somebody sue you today and everything is gone?
it's gone.
Your money has to be protected. You got to protect the money. The third thing is transfer. Whatever you have, it shouldn't end with you. Can your kids take over
Mm-hmm.
when you are not here? You got to leave a
Legacy.
legacy.
Legacy. Mm-hmm.
So, transfer of wealth is very important, but that's something that is very lacking in our generation, in our community, especially
Mm-hmm.
because we are just thinking about the now and about the here and about us, but we are not looking at the fact that you want your picture to be put on on a building, and your great grandchildren will never forget your name because you made an impact in generations to come
Right.
by what you did today.
Right.
So I'm going to give you an example. My daughter, who is just 18, we've sat down and we've
Is she
established,
18 already?
she's 18, we've established an account for
Oh,
her.
God, they grow up
That's
so fast.
that she is involved in it. She knows and she sees what we're doing. And the day she's going to have a job, she's going to take over that account. But we've started it now
Mm-hmm.
because remember, it's for the long term.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is that by the time she gets to retirement, she can have $1 million sitting somewhere for her.
Amen.
That seed has to be planted today. You
Amen.
might not see the results, it feels overwhelming, but the most important thing is starting. Because you know what, someday she's going to need long term care
Mm-hmm.
down the road. I come from a family where strokes are common. If she carries that thing and it happens to her, is she ready? We got to set those tools today. We're going to set a plan for her today. So we have a very big vision to leave long lasting impact on the community, not just our immediate families, but also everybody we come across as we move on.
I like that you said not just your immediate family because sometimes we're thinking just us and our kids and maybe our immediate family. But if we are thinking about the next generations to see abundance as normal, we need to stop living strictly in survival mode. What if our legacy an extent to know that I have a right to live in abundance, and that is normal. And they are also trained to change that trajectory for the next generations until it become a cycle, not of fear, not of guilt, not of shame, but a cycle to know that yes, I can actually sustain myself with financial freedom and pass it on and build a legacy where it can continue being passed on. And I want to thank you so much. It's Sunday, you're not feeling well, but I want to thank you so much for your time and so much. Again, I think our viewers know where to meet you from last time, but can you share more again about the work you do and
So
where
yeah,
you found? I think we'll put it on the screen as well.
I'll start by saying that, or let me conclude by saying, you know, I grew up in a home where financial education was not a topic that was discussed around the kitchen table. I soon found out as an adult, in my adulthood, very late, that while my parents emphasized the need to go to college and earn a degree and get a job, they were short sighted. They didn't see the fact that someday I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna have to need money to raise them. And I found that late when, I remember I shared the experience when my son
Mhm.
would always ask me why was I always pulled out of school because I didn't
Yeah.
have tuition. If my parents had that sight earlier on, there would have been some kind of planning started at the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
with little or no financial education, I
I
found out
think they took to from how they were raised,
they were raised
and
for
we take
real.
from how we are raised, and we are saying no. There are certain things that we want to keep. There are certain things that we don't want to keep.
Sure.
Hmm.
So I have redirected my purpose towards leading a movement to bring financial education and empowerment directly to individuals, families, and communities. I am not just trying to build a legacy for myself. My goal is to transform lives around me, one family at a time. So I'm going to say thank you, Dr. Mercy, for giving me this amazing opportunity to be on this platform. I do not take any of this for granted.
It is
Not
our
at all.
pleasure. It is our pleasure. The audience have been asking about you. And for those of you watching and for those of you who are going to watch later, take advantage. You see on the screen, and we're also going to put a QR code on the screen. You can meet her. She is very flexible. I know her. She's a sister, she's a friend. She's very flexible. She will answer your questions, she will direct you, she will make you win financially. And if you heard her goal, she's building a legacy not just for herself and not just for her immediate family. She's looking at a future where we can all take advantage of the fact that we work hard. Let us also plan hard. Let us live in abundance. There's nothing wrong with being financially free. There's nothing wrong to say that we are working hard. Let us see how we can manage those resources to better serve us. And thank you. Thank you for coming again. Thank you all for joining this episode again with All Mercy Psychiatry and Integrative Care podcast. Money and mental health are deeply, by now you should know that they have that deep connection. And
Yeah,
when
connect.
women, yeah, and when women begin to heal financially, we unlock not just wealth, but we are unlocking freedom, clarity, we are unlocking a lot, and above all, our confidence. Why are we guilty to say that I can make money, I can sustain my household, I can take care of my family? Why is that a guilt? Let us shame that money shame. And if this conversation spoke to you, please share it with a friend, leave a comment, leave a review. Your feedbacks are well appreciated. And you can also send us a message. Above all, send a friend a message to see what you learned today. And again, thank you for coming. We'll see you again. Don't be a stranger. We'll see